Good morning. Come on, guys. You had more energy in the morning. Good morning. Good morning. I always begin my sessions with a quote, and that is a very prominent quote, and you guys will get to know who said that. All right. The amount of coffee that you drink is directly proportional to the amount of knowledge you acquire. Right? What's that?
I don't drink coffee.
Okay, amount of liquid that you drink. Right? All right, perfect. And I'll tell you who said this, all right? And that happens to be my father. And he said this because he wanted to win an argument. All right? I was born and raised in India. All right? How many of you at least work with Indians? Thank you. So the next thing that I'm going to say is something that you guys would have observed. At least, if not from here, you can start observing this. All right? In India, when you understand something, you nod. When you don't understand anything, you nod. When you are confused, you nod. Okay? And we've got dance in our body. So that's the way the head movement starts coming in. Alright? Anybody who speaks anything, we'll make them feel very happy. We'll be like, you guys are doing fantastically well. Alright? Now I'll tell you why my father told this. We had a heated argument on a particular topic that I didn't like. And he knew I had a strong point. He wanted to win. Alright? And I was constantly drinking a lot of liquids. And he said that, and ultimately he shut the conversation saying, you know a lot, stop talking. Alright? So that's the quote I always said. And I see a lot of people with, of course, 2 cups of coffee. Alright? So you guys know a lot more. So how I try to take this session is more of a problem-based approach. Right? And my name is Harish Shekhar. And I usually go by the name Hary. The reason why they call me Hary is I did my school in the United States. And people in the United States are not good with the Indian names. Alright, the first day I went and approached myself as Harish, they were like, Harish, is that right? And 3 days I was okay. The 4th day they were like, hey, come on man, let's pseudonym you. And we christened you Hary. Okay, and since then, Hary has been tagged to me. Most of you would have at least spoken to me at least once or twice through phone support or pre-sales or anything on the relevant seminars. That is me. So that's the face you need to associate with Hary. Okay? So welcome. Because the reason why I would like to start a seminar with a humor quote is the IT administrators are the most wanted people and the people who have the least amount of fun. Right? Right? When something breaks, whom do they call? Okay. Okay. But when something breaks, inevitably they call you. They call us. But when everything is happy, do we get a phone call? No. Do they at least appreciate for what we do? No. Alright, so that's the reason. And the only getaway that we are legally allowed to do is seminars like this. And this, according to the organization, is a getaway. Okay? This is a seminar, you're learning something, you've got to go back with a lot of takeaways, and you've got to perform stuff. Alright? And I have a personal use case which I wanted to share with you guys. And this is really, really personal. I'm going to give you all the details intact, and you can verify this information. Alright? When I was 10 years old, people asked me this super duper dumb question. Where do you see yourself in the future? Right? Of course, a typical Indian, I said I wanted to be an engineer. For people who do not know much about India, Indians and engineers are like bread and cheese. Okay? 9 out of 10 people will be engineers. 9 out of 10. But there is the next person standing right next to me, who happens to be my cousin. How many of you have cousins? Do you like them?
Some of them.
Some of them, all right. I hate him. I'll tell you why. I said I wanted to be an engineer, and that question was zoned on to my cousin, and he said he wants to become a writer. I was like, what? We both used to play together, right? And this guy comes up with a top-notch reply. I want to be a writer. They zoned me out. And they focused everything on my cousin. I didn't like that. Who likes to be zoned out, right? And they asked him, why do you want to be a writer? And this is where he stole the heart. He said he wants to write something that will move people, that will make them cry, that will make them happy, that will make them absorb what he writes. All right? A fantastic answer. They loved him. It was full of applause. The entire family got to know about this kid who was never known before. Okay? And me was known for the bad picture. Hey, this guy just wanted to be an engineer. Push him out. All right? I was humiliated. But, guys, karma is a beautiful thing. Karma is a beautiful thing. In case if anybody does not believe in karma, I'm the live example. Hear me out. You know where he's working right now? He's working for Microsoft and he's writing error codes. Alright? For people who do not realize what error codes are, giving that sensational reply. Alright, here you go. Yep. Right there. Those 4 red lines. He writes that.
We're crying.
Yeah. He just wanted you to cry. His name is Praveen Krishnan. He's my cousin. Of course, he's the Indian name you get. He works out of Seattle. I just recently met him. And in case if any one of you stumble upon him, tell him I hate him. Alright? I hate him, period. Welcome. So now let's get deep into the problem-based solution approach. Alright? And that is where we have Active Directory management. Okay? So now, how I see this session is, I'm going to give you some tips on how you could save some time. How many of you manage Active Directory on a regular basis? Wow, everybody, right? Okay. One more last question. How many of you love your job? Really? Do you have your manager sitting right next to you? Oh, okay. So in that case, you know what's coming, right? The managers know the next pay hike, you guys get a good one because you guys love your job, right? Which otherwise we know the answer. I'm going to give you some useful tips which you could go back to your organization and please perform to start saving time. I've picked 2 topics. Alright, the first session would be on the Active Directory management, and the second session would be on security, on ransomware, and how you could probably use an SIEM to focus on your GDPR. Alright? When I talk about Active Directory management, I want to introduce 2 concepts. First is automation, and second is delegation. Alright? So let's get started. How many of you believe this? Active Directory is a time-ticking bomb. Yes? Yes? Yes. And of course, the next statement that I'm going to produce is even more alarming. The person with the least experience gets the highest of permissions. Right? And what is that? What a live example could be your help desk technician having the reset password rights. Okay? Reset password rights. I have a bad habit. When you consider me as a technician, I always have this habit of doing a right click. And do you see this beautiful teeny weeny button called delete? Do you see that? I like experimenting stuff. So, when I can delete my manager who's asking me to do stuff, the problem is solved, right? I've removed my manager from Active Directory. he's not going to give me any more work because he would not be able to log in, right? So the person with least experience gets the maximum privilege, all right? So how are you going to match that? I'm going to address these scenarios. And Derek mentioned about a GPO setting, all right? With just one small setting, I can close your entire Active Directory. How many of you believe this? For the remaining folks, here is the example. What happens if my maximum password age is 0? Or my minimum password age is 0? What happens? Could I log back in? Isn't that the easiest setting you could get your hands on? Who wants to try that? Who wants to try that? So in case you do, make sure you don't have the auditing set up so that you can, go past that. If not, they will easily find out that it's you who did the change. All right? So, but most of the administrators, as on deck, spend a lot of time in those two topics that I mentioned. If you're spending a lot of time in just trying and rather doing, it is time to look at a different solution. All right? I'm going to show you the native operation and then how we could help you out, possibly. Just a recommendation. All right? Automation. How many of you ever wanted this? Automate Active Directory. Automate complete Active Directory. When I say complete, I'm going to give you a 360 view. The first piece is the onboarding. Last piece is the offboarding. And in between is the modification. Right? So why couldn't all of us automate? What were the problems? Before I show you the answer, what were the problems? Why didn't you want Active Directory to be automated that you've always wanted it to be?
I'd say loss of control.
Okay. For the remaining people, the first 3 points is the answer. The documentation fear, the fear of if it breaks something, and third, right there, not ready to accept change. Not saying you, it's the system that your organization follows. All right? Of course, the onboarding is a cut and dry process, right? A user walks in, it's going to be either a department or a specific team that he joins. So why can't you streamline this process? The offboarding is very similar, right? Right? If that is the case, why are you still spending so much time manually? How many of you at least create 5 users a week? Wow, a lot. A lot. Yesterday in Italy, there was absolutely 0. And I asked them, can you get me a job in Italy? Because they didn't have file servers. They were not creating users. And I was like, what do you guys do? You guys are the IT administrators, right? And they were like smiling, but it was good to be in Italy yesterday. All right? So now, before I show you the next stuff, of course, this is something that I broke right now. This is the answer that Microsoft gave you for bulk user provisioning. All right? They wanted you to learn partial, of course. But my question is still on the automation, which is the next slide, which is to follow right here. Right here. How many of you have Exchange on-premise? 2003 to 16? All right. How many of you have Link Skype for Business? It's 2. How many of you have Office 365? 3. Google Apps? Of course, every single seminar that I do, there's at least one person, just one person who loves Google Apps.
Not in Denmark.
Oh, in Denmark there's one too. There's one too. There's one right there. He loves Google Apps. Every seminar there'll be at least one, and he starts smiling when I talk about Google Apps. Do you love Google Apps? There was one person who picked your hand at this side. Oh, now, okay. This side? Yeah. There was Google Apps. Do you love it? Oh, thank you. We're all equal now. All right? And last but not the least, custom applications. All right? So the reason why I asked a lot of questions in this sequence is, on this particular slide, there are 6 separate consoles that you need to create just one user, all right? And this is something that you guys will do on a regular basis. I am going to just create one user and just see the amount of time is involved. Let's keep it Denmark. These are simple stuff, but the reason why I'm going over is to give you the answer the way that you want. What is missing in this particular dialog box? I know you all love Microsoft, right?
Generate random.
What's that?
Generate random.
Fantastic. Were you a part of any one of my webinars? Okay. You were bang on, because that is something that is missing right there. So what is the password for every single user that you create in your organization? I know the password. It's password at 1, 2, 3, right?
No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, that's the easiest. That's the easiest.
Random generator.
Random generator. Okay. And for your case, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many of you heard about Tesco Bank? Tesco? In UK, they were hacked. You know that, right? And you know the reason why they were hacked?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yes. Yes. He's not joking. That's the answer. The username was the email address. The password was 1 to 9 numerals, just the numbers. And they didn't want any uppercase, lowercase alphabets to be installed because it was difficult to remember. That's the reason they were hacked. That's the reason they were hacked. This is Tesco Bank. If anybody has an account in Tesco Bank?
No, it sounds stupid, but this actually hacking?
Yeah.
It's just guessing.
It's called hacking because it's just 1 to 9, so it's just 9 factorial that I do, and I hit like Kane, get the password straight, 0 hashing. So in case if anybody has such patterns, please break it right now. Okay? We're still on the 6 console topic that I have. Let me type the password. Okay, and let's click next and finish. Is that all? Have I created user in like the way I wanted? And guess what? Everybody here would have at least received this email once or twice in their lifetime. Alright? You could check the date, it's correct, and read the body please. They want these 2 users to be created. Alright. And do you see that bulleted line right there? And guess what? They resume office today. Alright, and when did I get the email?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Wow. That's being futuristic, but the HR, any HR people in the house? No, right? Any auditors? Cool. So because Derek picked on auditors, I will pick on HRs. Alright? Working with them is super duper tough. Super duper tough. Because to them, getting the form filled is the toughest job on earth. The first name, last name. So they don't think futuristic. They just plan for now. Okay? So right here, they have asked me to create these users. I have not touched anything so far. Okay? And I had this automation set up. Let's see if that clicked in before I show you how to do about the automation. Okay? Of course, this tool does not need introduction because Derek has done it. There you go. I had set up an automation and it had created these 2 users. Let's verify that in Active Directory. What were the names? Come on, guys. Okay. Right there. You didn't see me creating any of the users, right? I created one that's called Denmark. But this is Stefan, and they wanted the Exchange accounts to be also active. Now let me go into the Exchange console. All right, and let's do a refresh. There you go. Do you see that right there, Stefan? Right here? And in case if you're wondering who that guy is, it's right here. Okay? So this is how I could automate, but let's still follow the game right there.
Can you enlarge the picture on the screen?
Oh, sure. Perfect. So now, let's go back to the users and let's now search for Stefan again. And you then go ahead and start filling in the details. All right. And you go into every single tab and you start filling the information. That's step 2. Step 3 is Exchange. Step 4 is Office 365. Step 5 is Google Apps. 6 is your custom applications. And before we move into these applications, I had a question for you. For people who set random passwords, how do you notify your users? It's a random password. You do not know the password. So how would the end users be notified about the username and password? How would you do that?
We send it to the manager.
Send it to the manager, but how? Scripts?
Yes.
Okay, what's that?
Welcome desk.
Okay, so for you, do you use your scripts too?
And check mark that it needs to be checked first one.
Okay.
Yeah, also no one, but we also send text to them.
Text, SMS, all right.
Yeah, they can do the phone.
So you have a back-end stuff happening right there, right? So wouldn't it be nice, I'm getting into the notification factor. My question is, when they are provisioned for the first time in your Active Directory, how can they check into their email? How can they check into their email? It's the first time ever, right? So which email will you send it to? The first time. What's that? Fantastic. You could send it to the Yahoo or their Gmail account, or like this gentleman right here, you could send it as an SMS. Okay? So this is where I'm going to give you a live example of all this performed using AD Manager. Right here, but these are something that Derek did. This is the template that I was talking about. Do you see all the tabs right there? The 6 tabs that I spoke about. We even have remote mailbox, terminal service, right there. So all you basically need to do is just create one template. And template could be OU specific, could be department specific, could be role specific. And you could start playing with duplicates. All right, who's got the maximum number of domains here? Who's got more than 5? Okay, I want a clear winner. How many do you have?
Couple hundred.
Couple of hundred?
Yeah, we're a service provider.
Oh my God. Okay. In your case?
70.
70. So, all right. 17. All right. So both of you are winners. All right. The point is, he's a service provider, and you have a direct 17 domains. What would happen in your case? How would you check for duplicates? Manual?
Well, we don't have that many users per.
Oh. Love your job. In your case, how do you check for duplicates?
Yeah, manual.
Manual. Wow. How many users are there in your organization? 17 domains. A little bit of math?
6,000.
Wow. 6,000. That's pretty hefty. So right here, I'm going to take that away from you from here on. All you basically need to do is just create a new template. Enable drag and drop, edit, check for duplicates on the forest level, right here. And you can tell the tool what needs to be done if a duplicate is met. Append a name beside it, append a value beside it and automatically increment, or associate a different naming format. Or the last thing is, for the documentation purpose, don't create the user. Alright, you have 3 choices. This is for your complete SAM account, user principal, your full name, display name. So your duplication is now under control. Alright? You can copy templates. You can edit templates. So in this case, since not many people picked on remote mailbox, you can kill remote mailbox. You can wipe that out. And taking that from this template only takes it from the layout. I'm not killing remote mailbox from your organization. It's just from the layout. Okay? And the next step is where you all wanted this. Random password. And once the user is created, I send out a notification to their email or an SMS. If anybody does any modification, reset password, an SMS or an email can go out straight through the notification profile. Alright? You can associate the respective group membership right here. And you could play with the contact, the exchange, terminal service, and all you need to do is keep extending the tabs for Office 365 and Google Apps. Alright? With one particular template, you could create as many as users you want. For people who have like 6,000 users, you might have multiple departments. So all you could do is, you could copy template and you could retweet them. Okay? So you could save a lot of time. With just one CSV file, and how does the CSV file look? Something very similar to this. Just the first name and the last name. This is all I need. Okay? If you have a big environment, multiple departments, I just need an extra field, which is called, this is all I need. This is all I need. Just give me the template name and put the CSV file on a shared folder, and you can automate the task right now. Starting here with, it's going to be a piece of cake. But we didn't want to stop there. How many of you use ServiceNow? Okay, how many of you use Service Desk Plus? Okay, how many of you use any help desk? Right? Any help desk. We've given you an API, and we worked on a tight integration where you could onboard users from your Service Desk Plus tool itself, from your ITSM tool. You don't have to come into AD Manager anymore. So once you get the ticket, you approve and you click, the user gets created. At the back end, AD Manager Plus sits down. Alright? How many of you have Oracle, MySQL databases and have information stored there? So we can do a scheduler in picking up that information to create them in Active Directory. Okay? Let's close this, and now I am going to address a different topic, which is nothing but how clean is your Active Directory? When I ask this question, 2 things are bound to happen. Either people start staring at me, or the second choice is they stop looking at me and they start taking notes. Yes, I'm listening. Go ahead. I don't want to see you. Because keeping a clean Active Directory is difficult. Why is that? People keep moving. The architecture keeps moving. And it's difficult to track the inactive people because time and date is involved. Right? A lot of this ring a bell. So how would you do this? So what's the existing scenario that you could do this with? Yes?
We have a very strict process for when onboarding and offboarding users.
Okay.
So every time we offboard a user, we have a script for offboarding them, which gets them out of all the group memberships and everything else.
Okay.
And then we have a 3-month waiting time.
Okay.
And after that, we deprovision the mailbox.
Okay.
Which and that has a 5-year retention time in
5 years?
Yeah.
Wow.
365. So after the mailboxes have been deprovisioned, we still have a record of them for 5 years. And after that, the PC account is removed from the Active Directory. The certificates are revoked. All data is deleted, and we have somebody from IT sign off on it, and the document is saved.
So I'm just listening to you. I'm creating something now. Okay. Yeah. You are my source right now. Whatever you said, I've done it right here.
Yeah.
So you said you'll disable them first, and then remove their group membership.
The user is disabled. The password is changed.
Okay.
All group memberships are revoked.
Okay.
Certificates revoked.
You name it, you get it.
Yeah. And that's what the script does.
Okay. And then
the only manual steps we have in deprovisioning a user is if they have company Wi-Fi, then we have to manually go in and deprovision their access points at home.
Fantastic. So all that you said right now, I have it in a UI.
We have it in a PowerShell.
I know. How long did it take for you to write that?
I don't know. It wasn't me who wrote it.
Okay, perfect. Thanks for being honest, because most of them pick it up from Google.
Yeah, no, it was my manager who wrote it.
Okay, I trust your manager.
Yeah.
The good thing is, whatever you just mentioned, I've just done it live. I've just done it live through sequential steps. And before I show you this, the difference between scripts and AD Manager. What's the difference between Windows 7 and Windows 10? What was the key thing that was missing?
PowerShell.
Of course, PowerShell. But let's talk about the basic stuff. This is something that the world was ranting about. Windows 7, and in Windows 10 they brought it back.
The start button.
Start button. Right? We wanted the start button. And people went bizarre when they found out that the start button was missing. Because we love UI. Why can't things be simple? Right? And that's the reason we sat out and we created this product called AD Manager. And this is where we started basically. If anybody knows the history of the AD solutions team, AD Manager was the first product we sat out and created. And the sole reason was to enhance the Active Directory experience of the IT administrator. Okay, so all that he said, I performed live, but what do you do for Office 365, Google Apps, or any of your custom applications?
What do you mean
when you wipe it out, when you wipe out a user? That's a separate script.
No, it's the same one.
Okay.
It contacts Office 365 and it, as I said first, it disables the mailbox. No, it removes the mailbox actually.
Okay.
When the user is deleted after 3 months.
Perfect. So once that is done, when you do something constructive, there's going to be one person who does not like it. And that's your auditor. Okay? And they will ask you, how can things be automatic in AD? Right? They ask this question because they want proof. And if something gets wiped off in Active Directory, they will question you. So in that case, for people who do not completely believe in automation but are considering that, you could take this option too. You could streamline the process and you could bring in a workflow for your Active Directory. Just about when the users are to be wiped out, an email is triggered and the respective people have to jump in to approve the process. All right? Yes.
It's very difficult to see.
Oh, very difficult to see? Like, hang on. Better?
Yeah.
Better? Okay. So you could streamline the process and you could notify people accordingly. Alright? For people who work on PAM, how many of you work with privileged access management? Right? So here's a use case for you. You have a file server and you have a critical folder in which there is a file, and I need access to that just for some time, but you don't trust me. You don't trust me. And you send back an email saying that Hey Harry, I've just given you a 1 hour access. Use it and then it will automatically revoke. How does that sound? You guys have something like that now? No? So what you could basically do is, you could work on something called right here. You could play with permission management, and then you could play with, all you can basically do is through the workflow, a person who needs access to a file could raise a ticket, and the person can approve it with timeline. Either 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50, or like for 2 days, and they can revoke that permission automatically. You don't have to go back and manually revoke the permission. It's setting the ACL and removing the ACL for you with documentation. Okay? For privileged access management. It goes a bit deeper too. If they want access to a particular group membership, you can ask it through these workflows. Alright? So any question on the automation piece right now, before I address the next segment, which is called the delegation? Any question on the automation? Alright, so let's keep moving, and all I wanted to start was right here.
Actually, I have a question.
Sure.
I work as an IT support.
Okay.
And we also use a PowerShell.
Okay.
We define the username and then we run the disabled user.
Okay. Disable user.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the user gets disabled.
Okay.
And someone from the operations team go and check out all the users that have been disabled.
Okay.
And save their email accounts.
Okay.
On a PST file.
Okay.
And then
the exchange account is disabled. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's very manual. And also, as you said over there, we have to check for that you have internet at home or that you have a work pay phone.
Okay.
So, is this software?
Yes, I can do about 90% of your requirement. The only thing that I want to do is the internet, the applications, and the other thing that you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Of course, that is something that we don't touch at the moment, but the remaining part I can do it in like multiple automations. I can streamline, I can notify, post the session, I can prove it to you live too.
Okay.
Alright? Perfect. So any questions on the automation before I jump into the delegation? Cool. So in case if you have questions, we have time after my session, you could just note it down. Alright? So how many of you have played with this masterpiece that I want to show you right now? I love this.
Again, it's difficult.
It's difficult to see. Stefan, can you just reduce the light right here?
Yes, if I had the knowledge about that. But
I think there's something right here. The light.
yeah, but no. Yeah.
I mean, you're touching the wrong one. That's the projector.
I know. No.
Don't make it like a Tater too.
Okay.
Better?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So yes, we are talking about something called the delegate control wizard. How many of you have played with that? Alright. Here is a scenario right here. I'm a simple human being. Alright. And I just wanted to provide reset password rights on just a particular OU. And I don't trust Microsoft. Okay? What's this? Okay? I've just added this user in Active Directory. And I want this user to have reset password rights on the OU. But the clause was I don't believe what the existing setup provides. So I wanted to create something on my own. And it says create a custom task to delegate. Next. Wow. How many of you played with this? Okay. Can somebody explain? Of course, that's the exchange piece, but there are more entertaining part right here. Yeah. What is this? The MS Exchange journaling reconciliation remote account objects. What does that mean? Okay, I said I'm a simple person, I'm new to Active Directory, and I just wanted to provide reset password rights on an OU. It's now made me forget my requirement, and I am interested in checking something else, which is completely than what is exactly required, right? So what happens if I check this? What could that user do? Something. So I'm just going to follow this from here. I'm just going to finish this because I'm now lost. Okay, let's keep it to full control. Next, finish. By the time I realize that I've done something, it's done. How would you trace this step back? How would you go step-by-step analysis on what exactly just happened? Because this is a part of your GDPR. Who's got what access? Just not on your file servers, on your Active Directory too. Who's got what level permissions? How do you track that today? So that is where I had something that I wanted you guys to do. That's under AD management, security management, and search permissions. This is a hidden feature. The reason why I say this is, take a look at this. I'm searching every single object in your domain, and I'm giving you any permission they have. Any permission they have. Okay? You remember Denmark? I just want Denmark. I want to see what all permission this user has in Active Directory. He was just created this morning, right? In front of you guys. Some of them are default, but take a look at this. Right here, at the top. At the top, right there. Do you see some groups? Oh, I see some DNS admins. Is that a problem? Is that a problem? I'm reading the permissions from your Active Directory. I'm reading the ACLs from your environment. Alright? And when you drill down the ACLs, it takes you about to 15,000 entries. 15000 entries of ACLs. Who wants to read that? Just for one object. Just for one particular object. Right? So this is super intense. So just run it back in your organization and see what permissions each one of them has. So for instance, I have a user named Brisbane, which is a user. Click. Okay. You search. 296 permissions, but the thing which I want you to see is right here. Do you see a problem right here on the screen? What's the problem? Domain admins. Wow, that is a problem, but let's see if there is a bigger problem now. Oh yeah, there is an even bigger problem that's coming up, which was in the first page, which you guys didn't see, the administrator group. Alright? So these are something that I have missed out. So now I can redo that. Why is this person a part of the domain admins group or the enterprise admins group or the administrators group? So you could just get a report, export them in whatever format you need, and you could start printing it out. Right? This is the first step to your GDPR. Okay? How many of you have started preparing for GDPR? Wow, this is the best crowd ever. Started preparing as in you just started studying? No, right? So you have active protocols in place now. Fantastic. This is the best crowd ever in attempt to the GDPR. In France, there was one person who asked me, hey, there's something coming up in May. Do you have something for that? I was like, what's coming up in May? Yeah, some compliance, right? He was super cool in France. And France was the first person, one of the major countries to be hit by ransomware. He was super cool about it. I like the attitude about the French people. They're kind of slow, but I didn't thought they were so slow. All right? He was like, it's just coming, yeah, it's just May 25. It was like, winter is coming. All right? That's a very cool attitude. But how do we tackle this problem is through role-based access. All right, so one more. I'm going to toss a couple of questions because I just wanted to keep it two-dimensional. Anybody here who's super confident on the number of people who have reset password rights in your domain? How many of you? I want, like, let's burn some calories. 1, 2, 3. A group of 60, I just have 4 people who have the exact count of people who have reset password rights on the domains. Okay? For the remaining folks, I just hope and pray you are the only person who resets the password. Is that true? No. So there are people behind, right? Okay? Wouldn't it be nice if... And how do they access Active Directory? How do they get to see this console right here? Do they remote into your domain controller? No. Well, I have a person who says yes. Who's that? Is that the case? Of course, he can bring down your Active Directory. A wake-up call now. Okay? You either have to install the admin package or RSAT, right? On respective machines. So what happens if the machine that you've allocated to me, I don't have that machine today? What happens? Can I log into a different machine? Provided you have installed it on the other machine, right? Right? Or the second option, the key most important thing is they need to have explicit permissions, right? In Active Directory. And the third point is they will not be able to access it anywhere across the globe. Right? I'm going to break all of these 3 and just show you what you guys need to see right now. And that is under delegation. And I am just going to create something right now. Let's create a new role, and that's going to be Denmark. And I just want them to do a reset password. And all I want them to do is generate a password. Nothing more, nothing less. Save the role and get into the technician. Let's do the help desk. Choose Denmark. Okay, save changes. And I'm going to log back in as the technician. What do you see? What do you see? Just the reset password, right? Nothing more, nothing less. The right clicks won't work here. Nothing happens right here. Alright? He clicks on the reset password and he searches. He picks apply, successfully modified. You see the password hashed. Alright? And this could be emailed or SMS to the respective user. Alright? Through the notification profile. But what you're going to see right now is something that you always wanted. Can you read the first at the top? Who did what and what exactly was performed is captured. Now you guys can ask me, how can this happen without explicit permissions, right? All I need is one service account. Just one service account with valid credentials. This does not have to be a domain admin. Just one service account with respective permissions, and this person can impersonate that credential. But with impersonation, you know what's coming, right? Will you be capturing the impersonation credentials or the person logging in? The answer is right there, the person logging in as a technician. And all this, yes?
What about the service accounts that this product use? Are those also underlying the password change requirements?
Oh yes, of course yes. We don't spare any of the requirements. All right, and that's audited too. So when you take a look at the 80 Audit Plus, we'll capture that live right there. Yes, so coming back, you could export this and you could notify people And in fact, in my terms, you can find out the black sheep instantaneously. Hey, you did this. There's no way anybody could have done this. Your name is right here. So you did the change. All right? So you could customize the roles to your satisfaction.
Unless he passes password to another person.
Oh, I mean, that's a bigger picture. That never changes, right? So that pretty much sums up my first session. But before I do this, this is something that everybody always asks me. Scripts can do this for me. So why AD Manager? Okay? Of course, I've discussed many points, but there is one thing that I would request you to consider about the intelligent filters. Okay? Here is a use case. You have deemed, of course, you guys work with contractors, right? Contractors, consultants who work for 6 months with an organization. And what happens after the day of 6 months? The account expires. And you have now associated me to your deprovisioning list. But then I make it as a full-time. How would you filter me out and put me back to Active Directory? I'm right now on my way to be deleted. But now I'm on a good shape, I've made it as a full-time employee. How would you associate me back to Active Directory? So the intelligent filters, customizations don't exist with script. You have to do another script. And last but not the least is the reporting ability, where you need to do multiple scripts to generate a report. Yes?
You don't necessarily need to do multiple scripts. You can have the script.
Okay. I mean, you would have to write multiple lines to see if that executed.
You can have the script output the result to a file.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we do.
Dump it into a CSV, right? But yeah.
Or a text file.
So it's just extra lines of codes. Like, yeah. But that is not right here because I just had about 10 people who were 5 and above in PowerShell, right? Or any other coding skills, but the remaining people are just like me. They're like 4-ish. So we need a UI. And the first point right there, explicit permissions. I just had one person who had 2012 R2, right? Just one person right here. And with 2012 R2 and above, they can schedule the scripts. But anything before that, there's no way you could schedule it. You'll have to invoke it with explicit manual permission. All right? So that pretty much sums up my first session. And that will be my email address. It's very simple to remember in case if you have any questions that would follow up, that will be the address you can target it to. You can either do it to Stefan, to Derek, or me, and we can get back to you with answers. Okay? So now, let's switch gears. How many of you have file servers? Everybody, right? Everybody. Now let's be a little bit honest because we are an A team right now. We're very close. We've like spent about half a day together in a good way. Okay? How many of you were attacked by the recent ransomware? Wanna cry? Let's be honest. I just have 6 people who are picking their hands right now.
We had clients.
Of course, okay. Now there are 2 options for the remaining people. You still do not know you were attacked, or 2, you do not want to confess. So which among the 2 should I pick?
Define attack me, because we didn't get it.
Oh, and that means you'll have to like go back and see if you're attacked. In that case, you're in a good shape, but starting today, people might come back to you because we just listened to you that you were never attacked. Right? So we all know that you're never attacked, so we might plan an attack on you. Perfect. Good. Touch wood. Because not many people say this. They were completely secure. At least everybody is about to be attacked. How many of you?
What is attack in your definition?
Attack in my definition is crashing your file server.
And the way encrypt.
Yeah, encrypt your files. No, nothing has happened so far. Good luck. Touch wood. Touch wood. So just stay that way. The point is, not many people share the same frequency. They have been attacked, and I follow a bit of Sun Tzu, The Art of War, and he strongly says that everybody is about to be breached. Everybody. But it's about how ready you are to redo your changes. Okay, there is one interesting stats chart by Barclay, and and they brought up this 2017 equation of security attacks. Okay? Trust me, 51%, they went to about top 100 organizations, and out of which 51% who were attacked said they are not going to redo their security protocols. 17% were confused, and the remaining folks are going to redo their security protocols. 2017 attacks. If you are interested in these articles, please just email me. I will give you the links with the source so that you can enjoy them as well. Okay? So what I thought is, for your question, I thought I will attack myself right now. Ransomware. Okay? And I'll give you two choices. One is to be responsive, and two is to be counter-detective. But let me explain about ransomware. What are the three things that you measure in ransomware? What are the three things that you measure and you detect ransomware for? What happens? You have a file and it recreates the file, it locks it. So what does that use? File creation, extension change, and modification, right? Okay. So what I thought is, just anyone, what was the average time that you realized that you were attacked? When did you get to know you were under attack? Yes?
I think about 2 minutes.
2 minutes? Wow, fantastic. Anybody else?
Usually we get a call within hours when some of our...
1 hour. Okay. Anybody who's more than 1 hour? Wow, how long? 2 hours. Okay, because I had few people said 1 day because they didn't realize it was on a weekend, on Saturday, and eventually on Sunday when he needed some files, that's when he realized that. So it took him 1 day to realize he was under attack. And what was the downtime? How long did it take for you to redo your architecture?
It depends on how prepared you are and how your backup strategy is.
Okay. So now you know the answer.
It can be everything from days until hours.
Weeks.
We had a client who wouldn't come clean about that, what the real issue was. They called us up saying we have some issues with your backup software, and tried to figure that out for 14 days before they actually gave us a call that, hey, we actually encrypted a lot of files, so what do we do?
Wow. Wow. And so you know the answer. There's no 100% cure for ransomware. Alright? That's the truth. Prevention is better than cure. So what I thought is I'll give you a live demonstration of the attack. And you guys can take a look on how exactly this happens. So right now, this is my file server. And I have a folder that says, you guys see Denmark right here? Oh, I have something called, where did that go?
Bottom, you change your resolution? Bottom right.
Bottom right. Oh, there you go. Thank you.
Hary?
Yep.
Can you change the resolution? It's impossible to read down here. I want to see the folders.
Hang on. Is it better?
No.
Change the text size.
You can step down here and see if you can read what.
Yeah, the monitor resolution.
Okay.
It's way too small for us.
I guess I have this problem with me. The thing is, it'll break my application, but let me try. So what do I do now? Down? It's going to keep it even more. Like 1280?
Try.
Try.
Why?
Nah.
Better? No. Yeah, that's the pain point with this VMware and my machine. So let me try one last time, if this will help. Is this better? Why?
No.
No? Then in that case,
You can change the DPI of the font size.
font size?
Yeah, it was the font we can't, the text we can't read.
Okay.
We need to scale the font.
Oh, okay.
I think
I think it's in the advanced settings.
Alright, so let's get into this. Talk me through this.
Right click the
Check
desktop.
on desktop and the screen settings and press advanced. I believe it is.
Okay.
That's right there.
Advanced settings.
Yep. properties.
I don't see anything.
I know.
Doesn't matter.
It's the font.
Now wait a second, close that. Close that window.
Close the window, okay?
You have one that says make text large. Yes, that one. Larger, 150. Apply. Log off and log back on.
I said log off later. Would that affect?
No, you need to log out and log back in before it takes effect.
I just hope it doesn't break my application. There will be nothing to show you guys. Yeah.
There's nothing to show us now because you can't see the text.
Alright, so it's right there. So let's go back, start. I log off and I log back in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Caps lock is on.
I know. I know. That I could see. Oh.
On again.
Wow. Wow. So what it did is it's kind of put things different, but I just hope it's easy now. Come on, come on. Better? Yes. Perfect. So right now, let's go back again and see if we can work back things. Better, guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. And thank you so much. Alright, so this is my file server right here. And you guys see there's potential files, right? Alright, you still don't trust me. They are openable and it's a text file. Okay? So what's the next steps closely? Because everything would be documented here on. Alright? This is my file server, a Windows-based file server. And now, okay, perfect. Now all I'm going to do right now, what's this step? You guys saw the application I opened, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's this? Okay. You guys saw what's inside that folder. So you guys will get to see my scripting abilities too. If it works, it's good. If it doesn't, I'll have to redo the step again. What's this? What do you guys see?
Change the file.
Alright, hang on. How do I open this file? How do I open this file?
Payment.
Payment. Bitcoin. I accept only Bitcoins. Alright? And not in public though. So right now, you have an option to see. If you still rely on the event viewer, you've got an option to look into the security logs, but my environment is slightly bigger than Derek's. I have about 229,000 events, 222,000 events. Alright? How will you track down ransomware? Because you don't have time to sit through and read every single log. Okay? Of course, the options again have to be on your scripts or your measuring techniques. But I promised you 2 ways on how I could help you out on this. And that is right here. Yep. Come on. Okay, this is just purely reading your activity that I just did right now. Oh, that's super big. It put me off. Yeah. So right now, let's get inside this. And let's get into the alerts. And by the time you read the alert, right here, the source accessed by the process, that's the reason I asked you to pay attention closely, the time generated, the alert message, and the location. Okay? Real time. 0 configurations. And by the time you read the email, for people who wanted to be counter detective, you can execute a command which will put that file server, which will take away your file server from that domain. It will shut it down. Okay? You don't have to script anything. I'm going to give that for free. And where will you get that? Scroll down and click here. I will give you a live sample script to shut down your file server under attack. Alright? But I'm not going to close the equation right here. You could write your own scripts. You could either kill the source, or you could do whatever. You could raise a ticket to your ITSM tool and register it accordingly. Okay? Yes?
Does it only register a ransomware attack if it renames the files?
Oh, I mean, you can create your own alert.
Yeah.
Take a look at this. This is just not only ransomware. How many of you worried about system misuse? Alright, this is going to be weird, but how many of you download videos, MP3 songs, photos on your file servers? It's a bit weird, but I've done it. I'll admit it. I've done it in the past. Yeah, I've downloaded a song thinking that I have full access, and then I get an email from my administrator saying that, can you please be human? That's a file server. People collaborate to get work done. So stop doing that. So those kind of requests, I will take it right here. Right here. Video files, audio files, image, Office documents, and in your case, if you just want for rename, you could just pick the respective folder, files or folders, file types, and then you could do the action. Just rename.
Yeah, but what I thought about is there are some random attacks that doesn't rename the files. So
okay.
How would you get a warning on it?
Right here. So right here, you've got something called the file types, and we have a list of attacks that has happened so far. Or if you know what you're looking out for, you could add your own file type at the top. This is purely just talking about your Windows and workgroup machines, all right? So you could just quickly go ahead, check this box. You could click on add file type. All right? Yes?
Can you detect, I don't know what we should call them, random user attacks? We see from time to time that people actually, by mistake, drag completely folder structure somewhere else in the file server. We've got file server, thousands of folders. And
the folder itself?
Yeah, they just drag the folder somewhere else and it's gone.
What do you mean it's gone?
They just drag it.
It's moved it somewhere, right?
They move it somewhere.
Yeah, as long as it's in the files and folders in your server, yeah, I will drag it, yes. Yes. As long as I monitor your file servers and that specific folders, yes. Doable, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We see that same problem, but that's always when people have roller mouse.
Okay.
Because they try to click it, and they just by accident when they scroll, when they try to double click, they just move the scroller just a little bit, and they usually drag.
It's just the move operation, right? I hope they don't delete it.
But we just go into the root of the server and search for the folder, and we find it.
Okay, but yeah, we can capture that.
But it's
we can capture that.
We've actually done something else with the same thing with the monitoring.
Okay.
With the whole list of the encrypted file names,
Mm-hmm.
we created a write filter on the file server that disallows the writing of those encrypted file, the standard encrypted file names.
Okay.
Because when the ransomware is unable to write the file, it doesn't just delete it, it doesn't do anything.
Okay. So you put it on top of your file server. That specific list that you're talking about.
It's a standard feature in Windows.
Okay. Perfect. Yes.
File server, SRM.
Yeah.
But that's the same too.
Okay.
How often is the filter, the ransomware updated?
Oh yeah.
Because right now I'm
Yes.
doing it manually. It's kind of
It's painful. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're coming up with a system. How many of you have heard about this Staxi? STAXI. It's a standard database which runs against the globe on the security protocols. If there is any attack, I compare and I measure it using my SIEM tool, which is about, I'll be showing it in a while. I compare it with the standard database. So for instance, let's say you were hit by WannaCry. That is a line that's measured on the standard database, Staxi. You can Google it, you can learn a lot about that. That will have all the attacks and the problems that the world has faced so far. Yes?
A customer of ours got a ransom attack, and he didn't rename the files. They made a script that you could put in how many files a specific user was changing within a specific amount of time, and then lock the Active Directory user.
Oh, okay. So in that case, I can give you an alert in case if that goes too, right? So for instance, let's say if a user account is used to
do a lot of work in a very short amount of time.
I can give you an analytics on that.
Yeah.
Who's touching that file how many ever times?
Yes, you can do that.
Yeah, right here.
Okay. Because that could be a valid.
So right here under reports, and you've got the access analysis. So anybody who does anything on the file count, you get an email.
Yeah.
Anything. Okay? And I'll give you some more useful tips. How many of you trust Microsoft digital permissions? Hope not. Good. Here is something that you might notice. It's good to share. When you give me read access, what could I do? Can you give me read access on your file servers, what could I do? I could only read, right? I can't write. I can't write. I can't delete.
You can execute.
What's that? I'm sorry, can you?
Copy.
Fantastic. I can copy and paste it into a different document. How many of you knew this? Just like few. For the remaining folks, there's something that's going to come up even further. Hang on. If you give me write access, what could I do? I could write, I could edit the file, right? But I could use the backspace button and wipe out the entire document. How does that sound? Does it send a chill up your spine? It did for me when I got to know about this. I was trusting them like crazy. I was giving a person right next to me the edit option, and one fine day it was clean slate. And that's when I realized the backspace button was messed up on his machine. And without his knowledge, it had erased the document. And I didn't have a copy too. Okay? If you still trust the digital permissions, please wake up, now is the time. Alright? And I can capture all that under access analysis. Read failure, read success. How many times each person touches a file. For instance, there'll be a particular file which will be sitting unnoticed, right? For like 365 days, nobody would touch it. But suddenly on one good morning, 1,000 people would be touching that. That is a problem. That is a problem. And that pushes me to the second key use case right here. Okay? But of course we saw about ransomware. How many of you were attacked by malware? Okay. So in this case, let's assume we're all in the same organization. I send out an email to every single person here with an attachment, an Excel sheet, and the subject reads, "Do not click." What happens in that case? I say, "Do not click," but what do? We click, right? We want to see what's inside that sheet. Okay? We want to see what's inside that sheet. But hang on. Right now, who's good with pseudocodes? Everybody can read this, right? Who's good with pseudocodes? And let's tie the malware with this use case right here. What could that code right there do on the red box? What could the code do? Come on guys, the answer is right there.
Log in as admin.
What's that?
Log in as admin.
No.
It says null injection, right? So it's logging in.
The red is the question, the blue is the answer. What does it do?
But you state the password in the red, it's a Y.
Okay.
Make a true statement.
Perfect. It's a true statement.
Yeah.
And I'm copying all the passwords from the database of all the users. Just see how simple query that was. Now here is the equation. Now you might ask me, I don't have any access to the domain. I don't have any access to the database. How can things happen? Perfect. Nothing happens. That's the reason I'm sending an email to every single person. The person who gets access to the database will give me a clean slate, right? Right? If you have access to your database, that query right there can steal all the passwords from your database. And if you have a firewall which can predict and analyze the number of files that are being stolen from a port, you're saved. If even that is not there, God save you. All the passwords are out in the wild. Alright? How would you measure this? This is called SQL injection. Everybody has a database from what I asked. At least one database. In that case, how would you prevent such activities? Let's go one step back right here. And let's do, right here. And this is where we introduce something called as the event log. Perfect. I think it's up. There you go. So right here under reports, we have something called as the SQL injection live right here. Under applications, we have something called the SQL injection, and all you basically need to do is choose last month, and we will tell you who did what, who executed the command, and from where it was performed. So this is where you need an SIEM. Alright, it will correlate things for you. Forget Active Directory, forget your file integrity monitoring, forget everything. Just imagine you just have logs with you, just logs. All you basically need to do is import them right here, and this will read out alarming information for you. Any application, any log source. Okay? Here is a live use case on what exactly I'm going to perform. This is something that your auditors will constantly ask you. Forensics, right? With how I see auditors, they are zombies. We are in 2017, they will ask you questions in 2014. Okay, 3 years back. I don't remember what happened yesterday, but 3 years back I'm good with it. Okay, I'm good with it. So how can I do that? Right here, just give me all the logs, add, import the logs, alright, and once you have it, it will automatically take you to this page right here, and all you need to do is click on go, scroll down. I have about 142,000 events.
1.4 million.
What's that?
1.4 million.
1.4 million, okay. Wow, units 10, 100,000, 10,000, oh, sorry, my bad. 1.4 million right there, okay? Let's scroll down, but I don't want to see everything. This will eat up my whole day, but I just want to see what went wrong. This is all I need from the logs that I have, okay? So let's get into severity. And all I want to see was the critical, the failure, and the error message right there. Okay? Let's do error. I brought it down to 42,000. Okay? Then you scroll down, you want to see from which type this is happening. Is it a system, is it an application, is it a mobile device, or whatever be it. And I see it's an application which is 23 and a system which is 574. I brought it down to 23 right now. And now I want to see the device. Perfect. And now I brought it down to 9. But guess what? I have built a formula right there from just a UI. Okay? And this is running against your organization. These are just not Windows logs. This could be your Unix, Linux, it could be your mobile devices, it could be your custom applications. And I have made a formula, and in case if that comes back, I could save it as an alert. You get an email, you could do custom scriptings too. If this occurs again. Alright, any log source, as long as it's human readable. Okay? How many of you have heard about Equifax? Equifax. Okay. The reason why I said this is, you know how they got attacked? You guys know it, right? Because I did my school in the United States, you guys know that. So of course, I'll have to adhere to their conditions. Social security number and all that is still valid on my name. Okay? And now it's no longer valid because it's out in the wild. Because Equifax is one among the top 3 credit unions in the United States, and you have to get their metrics in order to approach a bank for a loan or a mortgage. Okay? Now all of my details, my first name, last name, my date of birth, and my social security is right at the top. Everybody can grab it right now. Okay? You know what they gave me for free? They sent me an email, you may be attacked. They sent me an email. I know my information is out there. And you know what? The additional line was fascinating. They said, we're going to give you something for free. And that was my credit monitoring score. I was like, why would I need that? My social security number is out there. And you guys know how important that number is, right? In the United States, that is the key point. When you lose that, you've almost lost your identity. And in return, they give me a credit measuring score for 1 year, which is like a cross-sell. I'm like, what? Why would I do that? But that is what it is. And you know how they got attacked? They were attacked because of a 9-year-old bug on their web server. 9-year-old bug. That's like walking straight the door and just shooting at every single person here. Simplest form of attack. And lastly, I hated the way they finished the argument. They pinned down on one person saying he didn't patch the machine well. And they brought it down to one person. And that's how they closed this scenario. The existing CEO retired, and the new person came in and they just got hold of one person. Hey, that's the black sheep. He didn't do his job well, and that's the reason we were attacked. Okay? The reason why I'm saying this is you all have an organization to keep. And they didn't have a forensic tool to play with. And that is where I'm getting at right now. Do you guys see this Apache web server attack? This is what happened to them. The simplest form of attack. They didn't have a report to tell them which machine attacked and how they got attacked. They didn't have a forensic tool too. Okay? And last but not the least, coming up to my last couple of use cases is internal attacks. Okay. There is one article which says 59% of employees steal information. 59%. Okay. And it says managers sitting with peers. Of course, I've got a lot of managers in the house today. Revenge is a mighty thing. Okay, so I would ask you to request you to take it easy so that your fellow colleagues do not copy and steal information. Okay, so what happens if I plug in my USB right now? Okay, I'm a salesperson and they don't like me anymore. They fired me. What is the first thing that I will do? What is the first thing that I would do? I'm a salesperson, they fired me. Copy the information, right? Cover the database. Steal the clientele information from an Excel sheet. Because all the email addresses are right there. So how would you track that?
DLP.
What's that?
DLP.
DLP, okay. Anybody else? How would you track this particular scenario? When he plugged in, what information were copied? That's where you need an SIEM, and event log can help you do that. And the next article which I'm about to share, this was done by Symantec, and their study states that this attack is increasing every year by 2%. I don't know if it's going to decrease. I just hope we all get together and build a better planet. But at the moment, no. It's just going to go up, 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 up. So when they have a stronger prediction by 2022, they've gone into the trillions and the bigger pictures of the information getting stolen. Okay? So that is pretty much, and coming into the last use case, which is right here, monitoring privileged access. Why should we monitor privileged users? It's just the difference of the question that I asked you. We should monitor them because they're privileged. That's how you alter the statement, right? They have domain admin rights, they have enterprise admins, they have the SQL DB Express. Why should you monitor them? So because they don't exploit your environment. So that is where you've got user-based reports, and anything and everything that they do is under radar. Right here. This is just not one domain. At the top, do you see devices? I could span it down to your organization. Whatever he or she does, I can capture it by the hook. Okay? Similarly would be the correlation. 10 times failure, 11 times success. The 12th minute he installs the software. The 13th would be, deleting a user. 14th is copying information from your file integrity. How would you track this situation? So that is where you have a tab called correlation, where you can build a pattern and you can set it up straight. Okay? So forget GDPR. What is the present compliance that you guys have to adhere to? The present compliance in Copenhagen. Is it ISO? Or is it HIPAA? Is it PCI? Or there's no compliance right now?
ISO.
ISO, okay. So all you basically need to do is just log into this, and once this is done, hang on, I'll show you Prisma, but meanwhile I will even show you the ISO. Okay, let's log in. And just see how simple the compliance part is going to be, as long as you feed the right amount of logs. Okay? Come on, I'm almost done. It's the last slide. It's promising, okay? Compliance right here. Scroll down. So you see it was 3 clicks. I'll redo it again for you. Click on compliance, that's number 1. Then click on FISMA. 1, 2, and it is done. It gives you all the information, but these were the logs which I've not provided. If you give me those logs, I can even assess the conditions. So your compliance report is done with just 2 clicks, and you could export them to your respective formats. All right? So that pretty much sums up my presentation. And of course, this is my email address as mentioned before. If you have any questions, if you want something to be proved live, you can write to me. Any questions? Yes?
Does your product support 2-factor authentication when you log in?
You want every single product to do that?
No, just the one that gives access to the domain.
Or the Active Directory?
No, your AD Audit Plus and AD Manager.
Because AD Audit is just reporting. AD Manager 2-factor is available right now.
Okay.
AD Self-Service 2-factor is available right now.
Okay.
Anything that is connecting to the domain, we have the access now. But anything just a reporting tool, we've not got request. If you want, just write an email to me.
Guys, that's not as important as the mentioned.
Perfect. That's AD Manager and AD Self-Service, yes. Any questions? Perfect. That is my time. I'll be hanging around for some more time. If you need some help,